However, in May of 2025, airport workers testified before the city council that turnover was incredibly high and understaffing was a major concern. One employee stated that some make $12.50 per hour, whereas the livable wage in Charlotte for one person is $26.59. The airport and its workers are critical to the advancement of the city. So this question is for everyone. According to the city attorney, he stated that state labor law preempts local policies for city ordinance to address safety and wages. But that being said, the position of mayor can be incredibly influential. Share how you could influence to help ensure that the airport workers can earn the livable wage, as some reported that they sleep in their cars, and we know that you don't want that to happen.
This is one of those situations where Can you hear me? Yes. This is one of those times that you've asked me to address a really complicated question and a difficult one. And now all of us understand that we want our folks to live in our community, to be able to stay in our community. And that is very important. And that's part of what I ran on my first term. But I've also learned how difficult it is to make that happen. And so I'm not gonna sugarcoat this at all. There is a state law that says, and you heard what the attorney said, is that we cannot impact what you're asking us to do. One, because the employees that we're talking about do not work for the city. If they were city workers, they'd have that kind of opportunity, but they are not city workers. They're hired by American Airlines. And this is what makes it most difficult. The law basically says that the city council does not have the ability to dictate to any company how much they would pay their employees. Now that might be old style, it might be whatever we want it to be. But if this is the thing that really, in my opinion, is that our workers ought to unionize. They have not decided to go forward with the union question so that they can have someone that backs them up. When you go to the auto union, there are other unions that can do this work for them. And we have to figure out a way to make that possible. And if my time is up, I will say, I didn't know if that, no. So what I'm saying is this is a very complicated issue, one that I think all of us struggle with. We don't have even an idea of what the employees currently make, because that's part of those union negotiations. So what I would suggest is that we really do have to be careful, because I don't know how many of you know that there is actually a law inside of our program, of our city, that says, thank you very much. Okay.
And we will now go to, yes.
This is actually one of those aspects of government leadership that requires aptitude and competence. I know some of you in the audience, you were at the earlier forum and you got a little test because I told you about my academia. But you're gonna need someone that is familiar with law. And so everything that she just said is actually not accurate. So that statement about the city attorney is a cop-out, because federal preemption exists. Sovereignty for the state exists. We're talking about federal labor laws, and they can push. And so the fact that they're making this statement and everyone is believing it is the biggest issue, because that's not how the law works at all. And the mayor and the city council can work directly with the legislators, and they can actually push for that legislation. It's very simple. It's not tough. It's not complex. It actually falls in line and is consistent with federal labor laws. And you just need an individual who is apt and competent to actually push that reform and work alongside and even influence and educate where necessary, even the legislators, because we do know a lot of our legislators do not possess a Juris Doctorate, nor do they have a background in law.
Here are the facts, directly from the Department of Labor, Government website. Raising the minimum wage from $7.25 per hour necessarily benefits the entire Charlotte labor force. So there's no excuse why North Carolina's minimum wage rate is still $7.25 per hour. Look at the minimum wage for other states, many of which have increased it several times over the years to adjust for higher costs of living. Notice, like I said, the states can even incorporate city regional variances in cost of living and set several different minimum wage rates to accommodate for those variances. I sincerely hope you enjoyed No Labor or Little to None on this Labor Day holiday.